Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Dream Huge podcast hosted by Mark Gray. How you doing, Mark?
Good, Pete.
Good,
Excited.
man. Excited for this one. Excited. Glad to be back. I was on vacay for a week. I haven't.
How was
I shaved
that?
my beard. I had a little vacay, little beard going. Not as nice as yours. I can't grow them nice like that.
It's still shaggy,
But what's it?
man.
You? What's that?
It's still shaggy.
Little shaggy, dude. But do we even really get vacations anymore? I mean, I was
Doesn't feel
working
like it.
nonstop, and that's how I'm fine with that. So I don't know if there is such a thing as a vacation. I think you just go away while you work. But I'm thankful to be able to do that because if you have an amazing team, you're able to do stuff like that. So very thankful for that. And I know Mark was a huge help for me when I left, and hopefully I can do the same for you, Mark, when you go away and work.
Yeah. Eventually, I'll get there one day.
Yeah. Hey, we've got a special guest today, Amy Anderson. Folks, we don't always talk real estate. We love talking with other movers, shakers, influencers, entrepreneurs across all businesses. So today we have Amy Anderson. We're very excited to have her. She's the co-founder of Wild Coffee Marketing. Wild Coffee Marketing. You heard that right. Amy Anderson, thank you for joining us. How you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, thank you. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do as the co-founder of Wild Coffee Marketing.
Sure. So, contrary to our name, we actually don't market coffee, although we wouldn't eliminate it if the opportunity came our way. It's actually a plant that was growing outside my window while I was writing my business plan 7 years ago. And I was looking at it, and it had to be cut back with a machete. And it was bright and had these beautiful berries on it, not the Arabica kind that you drink. But I was like, oh my God, what a great metaphor for growing a business and for growing the businesses of our clients, which is something that I was trying to do at the time. And I had spent maybe at that point 20 years, 25 years as a client side marketer. So I was working for big brands in New York, like Calvin Klein and the New York Times. And I took a few years off to raise my boys, my little boys who are now 16 and 19. And I got divorced. And I had to go back into the workforce. And it was the first time. I am not an intentional entrepreneur. I think I'm more of a survival, accidental entrepreneur who really wanted, you talk about your vacation, Pete. I really, really wanted to have the flexibility to raise my children while I was working. I think it is a little bit of a misnomer, right? That owning your own business affords you the flexibility, but I did have it as my own boss. And 5-6 years later, we have 20 employees in 8 states. I joined forces with my prior boss, who's my business partner. And we have found a way to scale outsourced marketing teams, fractional CMO services, and are working with some really great national brands. So, people talk about having a side hustle as an entrepreneur and selling lemonade and all of that. I did none of that. I was a corporate person who had a big life change, but I've managed to make it work over the years. And it's really exciting work that we're doing and that we love.
Excellent. So what size companies are you working with now, and what type of marketing do you do for them to scale their business?
Sure. So typically 5 to 50 million, but we've had clients upwards of 100. We're working with brands from boat manufacturers. I don't know if you've heard of Carolina Skiff, the largest boat manufacturer of skiffs under 30 feet in the US. We've been their outsourced team for 3 years. Stretch Zone is a franchise business. So we actually help them grow from 50 to 300 locations. We do some financial services and B2B, but we're really doubling down in franchise. We love it. It's a really unique place to be, helping a franchisor grow locations and helping the franchisees who are entrepreneurs in and of themselves grow the business that they've sort of invested their lives in, right? A lot of these guys have gotten a couple $100,000 loan, opened a franchise, and we're really interested in making them successful. So what makes us a little different is we're strategists. We're client side marketers. We don't just run in digital. So we'll actually come in and develop a strategy and a plan to help these guys grow. And if you're not working from a place of strategy, then you're going to get really off course really quickly. And there's a lot of waste with budget and money. So really understanding target customer, who they are, what we're going to say to them, and then figure out how people should know, like, trust, and refer you. So, the discipline is very similar regardless, of the client or the industry that we're in.
No, marketing is huge, guys. And I know we have small business, you said from 5 to 50 million. I mean, we've got small business owners less than that listen to this show. So I like to drive home the fact that a lot of, especially small business owners, they pride themselves on being a word of mouth business. Okay. And that is actually a bad thing. That will only hinder you and hold you back, right? I hear it all the time. Oh, I just work from word of mouth, and that's how we get all our business and friends and family. I say, yes, but you need to take yourself out of that mindset and invest in marketing, invest in a marketing budget, and I'm talking about, like I said, those small businesses. And that is the only way you're going to continue to grow is by investing, setting aside a portion of your budget every month to use towards marketing. Would you agree with that?
I do agree with that. And I think the first place to start is your owned media. We call it a peso model, paid, owned, shared, and earned. And so the best place to look is, have you been to your website on your phone lately? I mean, have you looked at the mobile version of your website? Do you have clear calls to action? Does it clearly say what you do, how you benefit people, not just what you do, right? So what makes you different? And then really as a small business owner, I think it's critical to understand your audience, right? What are their pain points and what do you do to solve them? A lot of times we get a little bit of myopia. So we describe what we do and we don't take into account what actually we're solving and how we're benefiting working with people. So it doesn't matter if your business makes 250,000 or 250 million. It's the same approach of really understanding how you solve the needs of your potential clients and how do you address those, and starting with your website and your owned media and your social, and really taking a look at that and asking yourself, am I clearly articulating how I'm different and how I help solve these?
Is there a sweet spot, a percentage that we should budget for to spend on marketing, or does that change, based on the size of the business or the nature of the business?
It may change. I mean, the rule of thumb in a sort of a more corporate environment is 2 to 3% of revenue. So I think you can use that as a guide, to look at your top line revenue and say, can I afford 2% to set aside? And where will that go, right? And that's really a matter of finding your audience. And, I'm seeing a lot of business owners, especially, as I'm out talking to folks and doing podcast work, that are creating some great content themselves, and using that content, it's like a long form way of sharing what you do. And it's much like what you guys are doing, Pete and Mark, right? Like getting out there, talking about what you do, spreading the word that way. And then you really have a basis of content to use for paid efforts. You understand what resonates, you understand what works, and then you take those messages and you can parlay those into paid advertising for sure.
Love it. So about 2 to 3% of total gross yearly revenue. Mark, we might be able to afford a Super Bowl ad this year.
You think?
You guys, I love it.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah, hey, we're dreaming huge, baby.
Right.
Well, and then, I think when you're marketing, you're actually being intentional about who you want to work with. Friends and family will keep you in the same arena of your friends and family, but what are you aspiring to do? Are you looking to move up the food chain in terms of investments and clients and customers? And so for us, we did build Wild Coffee based on word of mouth, but then we kept getting referred the same types of clients that we started with. And you have to ask yourself, is that really where you want to be? And we decided that we wanted to work with big national brands and had to set our sights on that. That requires you to be intentional to market and to do outreach that way and not just wait for it to come to you in a passive way.
Yeah. I can definitely see that on the real estate side of things because different agents do different things. So Adam Thornton was a good one for this. He marketed to a lot of investors. So that was his niche. So he had a lot of investors that he worked with. And then you have people like me that kind of market to people that will bring me flips and deals like that. And then you got people like JP that he just wants to sell as many homes as he wants. So he does a broad marketing thing.
Right.
Yeah,
And that targeting will bring you exactly what you're sort of looking for. It's interesting. We actually are on the other side of the business with some of our clients that we work. We are the outsourced team for lenders. So we have wholesale lenders that work with brokers, real estate broker or mortgage brokers. And then we work directly. We're building consumer lending brands because there's so much opportunity in the investor and fix or flip areas right now. So we're actually taking a wholesale company, retail, so they can target direct borrowers because there are a lot of opportunities there. So I know on the lending side, we're trying to sort of push and expand that as well.
Nice.
very good. Yeah, you got to, do that marketing. Just to summarize that, do that marketing, target that marketing, better yet. And, as you grow your business, you can grow your marketing budget, and you can essentially, what it all goes back to is helping more people. And the more people you can help, and you touched on that, does your website clearly say what services do you provide? How are you helping folks? If I can add value, if I can help more people, if I can add value to more people, I will ultimately be more successful. Our team will be more successful. The more people we can help, the more successful we can be.
Well, it's so interesting that you bring up the notion of helping. I really believe that, Simon Sinek, I don't know if you guys have read him, but he is a leadership consultant and teacher and talks a lot about the golden rule, right? Everybody knows what they do. Fewer people know how they do it. And even fewer people of that know the why behind it. And if your goal is to really help people, then I think that why is a message that you need to convey. It's not just that you're in it to sell. It's not that you're in it to take advantage of an industry, an opportunity, or a line of business. If the why is in it, then everything from your team to your customers and clients start to feel that and feel connected to something greater. And we talk about that a lot in my team, is that, we make CEOs feel safe. And the reason we make CEOs feel safe is they know that if they are coming to my business partner and me for outsourced strategy and CMO services, that we're going to guide them in the right way, and that we have, 30 years of experience doing that, and that they feel safe because we do what we say we're going to do. That's one of our values that we talk about all the time, right? We're lifelong learners. We do what we say. We move quickly. We treat you as our partner. So I do think that in addition to targeting the right people with the right message, it's also really beneficial to your service or your company that you know why. Why are we even doing this? Our creative director says when she approaches a project, the context of why, who are you trying to help and why are you trying to do that? And I think that's a really important part of entrepreneurship and of business leadership that we all need to focus on.
Great point. Love it. Now, you are essentially in the same business as us as far as, hey, we got to go out and we got to generate leads and we got to grow our business. So I'm curious, how do you go about getting new clients?
Well, this is actually new for us because, in a service-based business, you have to scale the people while you're scaling the clients. You have to make sure that you have margins there so that you can reinvest in the business. So we've always had a little bit more than we can handle until recently. And we flipped a bit of a switch and we said, you know what? The franchise segment is for us. Right, Mark, when you talk about whether or not you're sort of blanketing residential, that is sort of mass versus investors, I think at some point you have to sort of put a stake in the ground there. And we said that we want to double down in franchise. So we're actually doing individual outreach on LinkedIn in addition to great content. So I'm targeting the CEOs I want to work with, the emerging brands I want to work with. We took a list. We hired a virtual assistant actually out of the Philippines who's really become part of our team. We really love working with her. And she has gone through and looked at all of these emerging brands. I gave her the criteria for what we're looking for, where they are in their business life cycle, where Wild Coffee can really make a difference. It's usually around the 30 to 50 location mark. And I'm reaching out individually to CEOs with a video that we have about our case study and some other information. So for us, it's a little bit more targeted. And then we do some outsourced CMO Google searches. I really think that PPC on Google, which is intent-based, right? Real estate agent near me, things like that in your local market really makes sense. We do ours nationally, and for us, it's outsourced CMO with landing pages and something valuable you can give them. So if you're out doing content and you're doing videos and you're writing about the market, give people something that's helpful to them and useful to them, and it will make them more likely to convert and call you.
Mm-hmm. Love it. So you're going straight, and what I think I heard was you're going straight for the CEO.
Yes.
In this marketing attack here. I love this. Okay. Straight to the head person in charge. But what's the dynamic like when you have, a lot of these companies have entire marketing departments of their own. How do you infiltrate that or show them, hey, I can do that better, without saying you're doing a terrible job with your in-house team?
Well, you'd be surprised how light the marketing teams are in franchise. Which we've discovered. You see large brands and you think, oh, they must have a whole team of 12 people, and they don't. And we're not really sure why that is, but they tend to be really light. So what we do is show them, have, strategy sessions with them, which is what we offer. We'll go spend a half day or a full day, sit in a room with them and look at all the things that they're doing, the pain points of the franchisee network, and try to figure out where the gaps are. Right? Like, where are you sort of not fulfilling the obligation to the franchisee? What systems and marketing platforms and POS systems are you using that we can augment? And we work together to find the gaps. And I think every team has them. In-house marketing teams are very expensive now, and they have to cover a wide set of skills. And it's very hard for a lot of these businesses to cover all their bases. That's why we're not really threatening. We're coming in and saying, okay, we have the strategy piece, we have the creative piece, we have the writing piece, we have the technology piece. Let's talk about what gaps you may have in your business and how we can fill those for you, whether or not you have a large team or a more scaled back one.
Excellent stuff. Love it. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we let you go? I know you're very busy and we appreciate your time. Any other final thoughts?
Well, I really want to touch on that why again. I really ask that we all sort of take a moment as business people and reflect and ask ourselves why we're doing what we're doing, and make sure that comes through in our marketing, right? And that's something that we're doing with a lot of our clients across the board. Does the creative reflect that? Does your messaging reflect that? And when you're out pitching and talking to potential clients, are you connected to the why? And I think that really resonates and makes a big difference with these guys. So.
Yes.
Have you ever read the book Vivid Visions?
I haven't. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay. Well,
no.
What was it, Mark?
Vivid Visions.
Yep.
So Vivid Visions is a book. It's not very big. It's like maybe 200 pages long, but it's basically talks about the vision of your company and your why behind it. So you read this book and you kind of create your vivid vision as you're reading it. And basically what you're doing is you're taking your business and you're working it backwards. You take how you want it to look like, you put your why behind it, and then you're creating your company like to match what you want it to look like and your why with it.
Makes total sense.
But then you take the whole thing and you make it like a news article so everybody can read it and knows exactly what's going on. Or you can create like a mini book of it or something like that, just so other people can understand what you're getting at.
Yeah, absolutely. And it takes a while to craft these messages and to understand the why, because a lot of times we're just chasing money in the beginning, right? You're going to where the opportunity is, you're trying to build. And then at some point, I think there's an inflection point where you really have to look at who do you want to be and why are you there? I have to say that the values that we created 4 years ago when we were building the company have not changed at all, which has been really interesting. I thought, oh, these will evolve. And we've really stayed true to them. And the vision of who we are and what we want to do has to be connected to that why. We want our clients to just know that, they're getting really good advice, being guided in the right direction. And we're producing top line results, right? If we're not driving top line revenue, then we shouldn't be in business. And then we have to look at that, like, what's that bottom line for all of our clients as well?
Yeah, that's huge. And I think that part where you said, a lot of beginners are in it for the quick buck, chase the quick buck. And not only are they chasing it, they're putting it right in their pocket and not reinvesting in the business. I see this mistake all the time in small business, and I'm probably guilty of this. I don't have a set vivid vision or a set, business plan, title, formal title or anything like that. But I always had the mindset, and I learned that from my parents too. Don't go out for the quick buck. Reinvest in your team. Reinvest in the business, and that way you can continue to grow. And I guess maybe I had that vivid vision, and maybe Mark, you need to help me put that on paper so we can communicate that better,
Yeah.
and make that a formal statement. I've always had it and I've always understood it, but so many folks don't. Don't be in it for the quick buck, listeners, viewers. I know you got to put food on the table, but think about the long term. How can we help people? How can we grow in the long term? How can we build a team? And how can we all succeed together? I think that's how I like to look at it.
That's awesome. I agree. And that's where the why comes in, right? And communicate the why. And really, and especially in your business, a lot of it is about trust and doing the right thing for people who are trusting you with a really important process to them. Same with companies hiring us, that, they need to grow and they're coming to us for that. And everything we need to do needs to be really centered on that.
Mm-hmm. All right, folks, find your why and focus in on it. And, read the book, Vivid Visions. Good one there, Mark Gray. And get with Amy Anderson, co-founder of Wild Coffee Marketing. Amy, how can folks contact or follow you?
Absolutely. You can find samples of our work and our writing at wildcoffeemarketing.com. And I'm on LinkedIn at Amy Anderson at Wild Coffee. And we love to just get together and do a little consulting work with folks and see how we can help fill some of the gaps in their marketing. So,
yes. And maybe perhaps we will share some wild coffee together sometime.
Great. Sounds great.
I mean, what do you think?
Sounds great.
All right. Hey, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Mark Gray, producer, co-host extraordinaire, slanging dumbbells, slanging barbells every day. Thank you, Mark. Amy Anderson, co-founder, Wild Coffee Marketing. Thank you for your time. And myself, Pete Peterson, with the Dream Huge podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And as always, remember the rules. This is our vision right here, Mark.
Right.
Our company motto.
Right.
Work hard, never give up, and dream huge. Let's see the guns, Amy. Thank y'all. Have a great day.